Hey friends, welcome to today's workout. Okay, so for today's workout, heads up, this workout is actually 1 year old. I am on vacation this week, so I wanted to get you guys something to keep you moving along in the direction that we're headed. So for the workout, you will need multiple sets of weights. I'm also using my mini band. You'll also see me use my foam roller underneath my shoulder blades, and you'll also see that I use my mat rolled up. I just want to bring that to your attention. These are not requirements, but they are nice to include, especially if you're getting to a level where you want to sort of level up your game. So with that said, let's get started with the warm-up. All right, I was just trying to make sure I'm recording. All right, so starting in your plank position, you guys, just come down to your knees, okay? And I want you to actually rock your hips back to your heels. So I know I started you in plank, but I want you to go hips to heels. So you're stretching the front of the knees, the backs of the, bottoms of the feet, the ankles, and then I want you to come forward, okay? Then I want you to lift your knees. So go down, knees to the floor, hips to heels, back up to plank, hold. So we're going to start to tease out the plank a little bit for like 5-second hold. Knees down, press back, about a 5-second hold here. Forward and up. We'll just do this 3 more times, so not like a very long, not a long-winded movement, but forward and up. Anybody, you don't want to be on your hands, you absolutely could just do this on your forearms. So you come up and do it on your forearms. But we're going to end in our plank position and go right to a downward facing dog, which is that V shape. If you need to adjust your feet, awesome. I want you to go ahead and take your right hand off the floor, bring it to your shoulder, put it back down, left hand, bring it to your shoulder. Start there. Try to do it without shifting your hips. And then we're going to layer in a little reach. So you're going to reach back. So it's going to be a little bit more work on the shoulder. Put your hand down, reach back, and come back to plank in the middle. So right hand to left ankle, back to plank. Left hand to right ankle, back to plank. Do that 4 more times. I'm going to just check the camera here, make sure nobody is in the waiting room. It never fails. It always happens when my head is down and not paying attention. I've got 1 more each side. Last one. Excellent. Go ahead and walk your feet in. Walk your feet in. Just let your lower back decompress here. Maybe shake your hips a little bit. And then from this position, step your left foot back and your left knee down on the floor. And then you're just going to put your hands up on your thigh. Okay, put your hands up on your thigh. If your foot is forward, pull it back, and you're going to press that knee forward. Just rock in and out of it. Ooh. Excellent. All right, we're going to go ahead and switch sides. So hands down. Starting things off with a little mobility. Obviously, we got a little more work to do, right? Going to build some heat here. Somebody coming in. When you're pressing your knee forward too, I've mentioned this to you before, if you're going like straight forward, you absolutely can add a little angle. Just try to keep that heel in contact with the mat. 3, 2, 1. Awesome sauce. All right, guys, come on up on your feet. So as I typically like to do is to take you through everybody's late today. They're all rolling in. Must be something's in the water. All right, if you guys are just coming in, we're just moving on to the second part of the warm-up. So you really have not missed that much. All right, so next up, you're going to take your feet wide. As I said, we're going to do a little preview actually of our first circuit, okay? So you're going to take your feet wide and turn your toes out And we're gonna go into a sumo squat. So remember, sumo squat does kind of resemble a little bit of a deadlift, right? Because you're going really low, but it's not a true deadlift with the hinge. So it's a nice steady bend in the knee. So toes are apart, sort of wide. I like to kind of take my hands down on the insides of my knees to kind of remind me, yeah, where I want to be working there. Obviously, we're gonna have weight later on with this. Really hone into you guys on feeling your core when you get down there like that. Like the lower you go, the more you really do have to think about that. Pull it in on your abs. Let's do 2 more. Excellent. All the way up. Take your hands up. You're gonna do a little bend at your elbows. So your little tricep extensions, and then all the way down. So take a big breath in, all the way up. Bend your elbows. Tricep extensions without weight, basically, but this will be one of our exercises in the first circuit. All right, last 2. I'm gonna add some circles here too. I just feel like it's appropriate. I like that as a little chest opener. When you're doing this too, right, the arms go over your head, really focus on opening up that chest. 10, 9, as slow or as fast as you want. 6. Anybody else is making noises? Crack, crack, crack. Ah, excellent. All right, we're done. We're done. All right. So we're gonna go into our first circuit. You will need for this circuit, the only thing you're gonna need is weights. I'm gonna use 1 heavy set of dumbbells, 1 medium set of dumbbells. So that's where I'm starting things off. And then we'll see where it goes. Right? If you always know exactly what you use, great, you're in great shape. But we're gonna be doing chest flies, overhead extensions, and sumo squats, which was basically part of that warm-up. So you've got lower body and upper body. People getting kicked out left and right. Okay, so sumo squats. Let's talk about the weight. With the weight, you're gonna hold. We worked that together on Wednesday. We did those squat thrusts. It's kind of the same thing, right? You're taking the weight from in between your feet. So we're gonna start there. Last week we did pyramid sets. You guys remember that, where we started like high reps, right? And we moved the weight up. This week I want you to just go for endurance sets, meaning I'm going to give you a range. You're going to strive for that range, but I want you to pick up a weight that's heavy enough that you're confident you will be fatigued around 15. Deal? Okay. So here goes nothing. All right, here we go. If you notice too, I'm bringing the weight kind of to the side of my hip when I stand. But I think back to the pyramid set, referring to what we did last week, you will see that format again. But where I was going with that is, it is kind of nice to see like where you can challenge yourself if going for a certain amount of reps is kind of off the table. Right, that's 15. That seems good to me. All right, we're down on the ground. Chest flies are next. All right, so I'm speaking to, she's not in here, but Meg, if you're watching this after the fact, she's got a broken wrist right now. You want to make sure that you have some sort of a ankle weight or something around your wrist for these chest flies. All right, so for the chest flies too, guys, feet on the ground is going to be your most modified, but if you want to go for something a little bit more challenging, lift your feet up and then push your knees away a little bit so you can get a little core work there. All right, so soft bend in the elbow, 15 reps. Weaving in a little core work at the same time. 15. Slow and steady. All right, done. All right, next up, we got overhead tricep extensions. If you feel you can sit in this L shape without rounding your spine, you can do it from here, straight legs. If that's not in the cards for you, come up into a half kneeling position or sit on a bench. I do like this variation because it is, I really do have to focus on remaining upright as I do it. One weight or two, I have 2 medium dumbbells here. Again, half kneel or seated is totally fine. I don't even know if I'm gonna make it to 15. If I had lighter weights, it would be fine, but not today, not with this. Right, my first circuit's done. Let's do it again. This looks good to me. So really make a mental note, you guys, about like what that felt like to you and say, okay, am I gonna, whoops, you're gonna do it again. Do you need to make any adjustments with the weights? Still working for that same rep range. There we go. Cool. All right, sumo squats. I have a little pep talk with myself here on this one. Now, do you guys remember I told you on Wednesday? I know some of you weren't here, but we're going to be doing a variation on a squat where your heels are elevated. And I said, you can use a towel or something like that. You can even roll up your mat. I'm just planting that seed. You need to go get something. After we're done with this circuit, of course. Last one. Okay. Chest flies. My more advanced folks, or who want to do more core while you're doing this, remember, the further the knees move away, the more work you're going to experience in your abs. If you go to the full hollow hold position, that's an option. So you can stay right here. If you go into the full hollow hold, my suggestion would be to pick your head up as well. So you've got some variation of that to choose from. That's where you're going to find me. At least for the first 10. Then I'm going to dial it back a little. Overhead extension. I'm actually going to grab my 10s for this. I've been working on like a little tendonitis in my elbow, so I'm like, I don't want that to turn into anything. Like, that's just kind of how it goes, right? Got one injury, goes away, then something else creeps up. I think the Webbers can probably appreciate what I'm about to say. So, as you guys know, my mother-in-law turned 80 in the fall. And she's like, yeah, the one piece of life wisdom, she's like, getting old is not for the faint of heart. You absolutely need to keep a sense of humor because things kind of fall apart. 3 more. That's it. Not with this crew. We don't want any more falling apart. But enough broken parts for one season. All right, we're ready to do this one more time? Yep, sumo squats. So admittedly, as I start bringing out all my toys, I did two rounds with one weight. I'm actually gonna try to move up my weight a little bit. Still striving for my 15 reps. We'll see how it goes. All right, nice wide feet. I know that's a little bit of an awkward start. But we're here for it. Two more. Two more for me. I don't know, maybe 2 more for you. Okay. Got all the toys out now. So you guys know, do you guys listen to music while you're doing this class on your own? Just out of curiosity? I have a playlist on that is a lot of Shakira. not normally my first choice, but I'm like, I'm here. It's like Spotify's workout hits or whatever. Yesterday in Spin, Janice, if you have a chance to check that out, I don't know, but I don't know what possessed me to do. I said I should have called that playlist Soccer Mom Special. That just reminded me of like the late 90s, early 2000s when I was in my Suburban most of the time driving kids around. It's here, there, and everywhere. I think that subconscious seed must have been planted off the discussion we had Wednesday about my color coding. Okay. Triceps. Okay. I don't know why I added that press on there. That was totally unintentional. Okay, kids. Gonna take a little break. Gonna fill my water. All right, so we're gonna get ready for our next segment. You guys will need the band for this. Remember how I said to you, I know I'm repeating myself. We want to find a way, if possible, to elevate your heels. One way you can do that, especially if you have the hexagonal weights. You guys can see my foot. Make sure you can see my foot. You can absolutely use one of your smaller weights. Not the most comfortable thing, personally, but it's an option. What I'm gonna do, in a perfect world, at the studio, I have like these wedges, these foam wedges that I use, but you absolutely could use a book that's like a little thick, or or a towel. I'm gonna use my mat. Can you see that? I'm elevating my heels. So the more you roll up your mat, the higher your heels are gonna be. Let me just fill my water. So we're gonna start there. So we're gonna start there with a goblet squat. I'm gonna do this. Okay. It's a little cumbersome. Why do we do something like this? Well, here's the why. If your inability to get really low in your squat is due to lack of ankle mobility, this can help because it doesn't, put it this way, if your ankle doesn't want to what we call dorsiflex to that degree, the elevated heels can help with that. So, again, this is not a requirement, but it's something that you might find helpful. All right. I'm going to actually do my first round body weight just to kind of work my range a little bit. Feel free to do it with me. Hands behind your head, hands crossed over. But remember, in this, we want to be more upright, right? So notice how much lower you get if you're elevating your heels. It's a little different than those sumos. You're trying to ideally drop your butt lower than your knees if you can. With your little high heel shoes on. 2 more. Excellent. How did we do? Did you guys all try that? There you go. I see Tara's got her weights out there. So some of you guys did it with a weight straight away. Again, for me, I kind of, that depth, this is still a little uncomfortable for me. So the body weight was kind of a nice way to start. We will come back to it. We're going to come down to the floor for our next exercise. You're going to start, you guys, we're doing a push-up with a T rotation. If you're working with a wonky wrist right now, you can skip the push-up and do a T rotation on your elbows. Cool? This is I said this to Meg. You guys don't know, Meg works out with us, sometimes live, sometimes not. And she just broke her wrist. And I'm like, I got you. That's kind of the beauty of having these smaller classes, by the way. So if you are working around an injury, you are always welcome to give me a shout and I can give you special modifications just for you. All right, here we go. So we're going to push up, T rotation. I want you to try to stack your feet and hold that T for at least a beat. Try not to rush through it. As tempting as that might be, in my mind, I kind of count 1, 2, 3 before I switch. Side edges of your feet. Now, I did not say to you how many reps to do. I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm going to do 1 more and then I'm done. That feels like a good amount. Ugh. If I'm being honest. All right, so we're just going to do these 2 as a superset. We're back to our goblet squat. Heels elevated. Whatever that's looking like for you. I'm having a talk with my weights here. All right, we good? 15 reps is our goal. Lots of squats today for sure. We're only doing 2 rounds of this, so. Oh God, Britney Spears just came on. I don't know. How am I gonna hang with that? That's right, draw the line. 4 more. Push-up T rotation is next. Okay. It's all about the playlist, right? Oh. Yeah, the tough thing about the sharing of the music over the screen is it's sometimes hard to hear me. Not everybody's got the same taste in music, so. How many reps are you guys doing? 10, I think, is a good number to strive for. Ends up 5 side planks each side. Making muscles. Okay, glad that's done. We're good. Ah. How's that child's pose, Melinda? It's just like, I'm done. Poke me with a fork. Are you okay? Okay, we're moving on. So just 2 rounds of that. That's the good news. Okay, next superset. We're just gonna do two sets of B stance deadlift, which we haven't done in a while. What makes it, so B stance is the technical term, but it's really more offset. So the way I think about it is this. You take one foot, you slide it back at an angle, that's your starting position, you're kind of resting on your toe, right? This is the working leg. So from the side, you're coming down as low as you can, loading up that front leg, pushing through the heel, pushing the hip forward. Remember, that's your hip extension. But we're gonna add on to it. So we're gonna add a row at the same time. I'm gonna do mine single-sided, we call asymmetrical. So I'm gonna have a very heavy weight in my right hand. So for me, heavy is, for this exercise, is about a 20, okay? All right, here we go. So I think when I do this, I'm gonna do 15. I come down, I row to my hip, I lower, and I stand. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to get that leg out of the way, feels like it's in the way. You look like that's a lunge. Remember, you are pressing the hip back, bringing your belly kind of right against your thigh. Whew. 2 more. Last one. Done. All right, then we're going to go to the other side. Same thing. Here we go. So notice too how what we call asymmetrical load feels to you, right? Because when we do this a second time around, if you want to, you absolutely could do 2 weights. Absolutely. I like this just because I can do the row one side at a time when I'm stacking these leg exercises together. If I tried to do this many rows that heavy, it would just be a lot. So two. Last one. Stop what you're doing. Stop right there. Look at your foot. Say to yourself, what foot am I on? You're going to be on the opposite foot when you lay down on the ground. I don't want to lose you. So I was just standing on my right foot, working my right leg. Yeah. So now I'm going to be on my left foot on the ground. All right. This is important stuff. All right. We're coming up into a bridge. Single bridge. You're going to hold the bridge, you guys, if you can, on one leg. You can always do the little figure 4 if you need a little bit more stability. It helps. But ideally, you're in that one side. We're going to do a pullover in the bridge position. So here's the pullover. You know the little trick I've showed you guys before? If the dumbbell's hitting the floor too soon, tilt it back and hold it more vertical. Whoops, excuse me, horizontal rather, parallel to the floor. This is too much. Just put both feet down and hold a regular bridge, okay? Bring the weight down. We take about a 15-second rest or so, and then we'll go over to the other side. Whatever you need. Fact is, you're going to be working your other glute, but you're going into pullovers again, so your back shoulders might need a little bit more rest time. So feel that booty drop and lift it. I say that just as much to myself, by the way. 3. I can feel that side starting to sink. 2 and 1. All right, you guys, we've got one more exercise in this circuit. You're going to turn over onto your forearms. All right, and we're going to just take the right leg to the right, come back to center, left leg to the left. When we do this exercise, or this circuit rather, excuse me, the next time around, we're going to add the bands. Or should I say you have the option to add the bands. Okay, you good? So let's talk about this. We've got the bands. They should be, we're going to move them around a little bit, but I think knees are good. So for your B stance deadlift, you're here, okay? Remember the other thing I said to you at the when we did it the last time around, so we're just our second set, this is a live work. Should we do a third set? You know, I said we were gonna do 2, but I think I'm like right here, right now, changing my mind. I think we're gonna do 3. Because I think we're gonna need to do 2 sets with the bands. Just saying. So I got a little something special planned. All right, so what I said before, you're gonna do, if you want to do it single, asymmetrical with a single weight, that's an option. Feel like, you know what, I think I want to go for 2 at the same time, also an option. Just let it be yours. Whatever you want to do. I'm good with that. I have to remind myself, this is like cueing myself, you guys might be finding this too. I do tend to kind of like overly rely on the back foot. So I have to really slow down and focus. And it's certainly not to suggest that you won't feel it at all in your back leg. Last one. Okay. Take a moment, take a breather. It's kind of funny. Look up and everybody's got their bands on their knees. All right, here we go. Other side. Nice and strong. Definitely feeling this one in your core, no doubt, right? Especially if you're working with a heavier weight. As you're winding up this set, Remember, we're going to the single leg bridge. And you're going to be on the opposite leg when you do it. Band still around your knees, preferably. Pull over. The pullover is upon us. Okay, if your band is sliding, readjust it. Because when you pull, like it will kind of curl, right? So just anchor it behind your down leg. And mirror. So yesterday was I had to do the math. What year is it? It was my 32nd wedding anniversary. And I am definitely not the kind of person that feels like things need to be celebrated on a particular date, which is why I am okay with my husband being on a golf trip. 3 more, but I was getting a little stir crazy by myself this week. That's why my daughter's also out of town. And I was like, maybe I should just take myself out to dinner. I have plans with friends tonight, but I'm like, that would be funny. And then take myself to Luke's, send my husband a selfie. Happy anniversary, honey. No. We celebrated last week. It is kind of wild though. It's like, wow, 32 years, a long time. Oh. All right, planks are next. Planks are next. Forearm plank. Move the band down to your ankles, please. Down to your ankles. All right. So once you're set up, remember, tailbone tucked, press out, back to center, press out the other way. Press. So true story, part of the reason why we got married in January is because we were, as you can imagine, very, very young and not a big budget for, you know, all the things, right? So we were like, well, if we get married with the Christmas, if we get married around January, the Christmas decorations will still be up in the church. Always the frugal one before. 3 more. So what we saved in flowers, we made up for in the band. That's it. Woo. All right, you guys look a little tuckered. Ready to do that again? I know, I kind of jinxed you. I was like, oh, we're gonna do 2 sets. So I'm like, no, I think we should do 3. I mean, listen, you can go get a cup of coffee or something if you want to skip it, but I'm gonna do it. So bands back around the knees, B stance deadlift, last round with the row. Pick your weight. I keep moving up. Here we go. Let's see. See what we got. Just my leg, it would be fine, but my elbow doesn't like it. There we go. Looking good, you guys. Listen, I get psychologically that you're like, oh, do we have to do the 3rd round? Look at it this way. That's 33% more volume. I'm gonna skip the row. Just go to the deadlift here. Yeah, it's funny. So you guys might not know this, just, has anybody ever had tennis elbow and is not a tennis player? Yeah, and is not a tennis player. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's part of it is, I know it's coming from my wrist. So much freaking typing. Christine, you work at a computer. So I was like, I gotta, be aware of that. I don't have time for another injury. All right, go to the other side. But where I was going with that is I have started to, and I've been doing this a lot. I will use voice dictation and dictate the stuff I have to write so that I'm doing a little less typing. But it's definitely coming from my right wrist. I have arthritis in that hand and it's just traveling, the fun's traveling up toward my elbow. Yeah. I would remember this like usually either sometime in the winter or the spring. So it always happened with clients. They would develop tendonitis from either shoveling snow or, they go balls to the wall with the gardening. Like their body's not ready to handle all that repetitive motion. All right, remember what foot you're on because you're going to the other one when we get to the floor. I'm just gonna mention this to you guys since you guys are experienced exercisers here. And I think like for Janice, do you have a foam roller? You don't have to turn your head. If you have a foam roller, you can actually use it to increase range of motion. It's totally an option. You don't have to do it, but just throwing out the possibilities. It's gonna make the exercise harder, so just heads up. Heads up on that. So glad I suggested it. Anybody take me up on that? It's definitely no joke. Woo. We simply just get creative with the things we have available, right? Focus on what we don't have. All right, if you're done with that, I finished a little sooner than you guys, mainly because I did less of them. The foam roller just definitely leveled things up a little bit. All right, so planking, abduction, so this called. You want a nice stiff leg, toes down. Dive in when you're ready. Band around your ankle-ish area. You want to keep that chest forward in between your elbows. So if you're kind of hiking back, get it forward, stay low. Oh, okay. Feeling really good about that, you guys.
All right, so just a heads up, there is no cool down on this part of the video. However, I have linked something for you below in the app should you like a guided cool down and stretch. I'll see you in the next workout.